Well, it is the day after the elections. Good morning, I'm Armstrong Williams. There are a few things of note that you should pay very close attention to. I will start with the mayoral race in New York City, where Michael Bloomberg was barely reelected. Think about this. Bloomberg spent $100+ million on a campaign against an unknown, Bill Thompson, had no money, had all the endorsements of every major pastor in New York City. A massive campaign advertisement on buses, on trains, on radio, on TV. And yet he barely won. Why? Because 4 years ago, the people consistently voted that no mayor should be given a third term. Bloomberg decided to buy the city council. That's what many people allege, that he bought the city council. They changed the rules, allowed him to run a third term, and allowed them to seek another term. Voters were disgusted. They found it pathetic, yet they thought he was a good mayor. It was a principal position for them, and they wanted to send him a message. And also, there's another trend. Money alone cannot buy you elections. It's an interesting trend. Bloomberg goes from running as a Democrat, running as an independent, and now running as a Republican. You should study the New York City election. There are many lessons there. Right next door in New Jersey, Corzine lost to Christie. Christie, who was a prosecutor who enforced the laws, it did not enforce the laws for himself. You heard about his stories about not paying taxes, fixing parking tickets. I mean, people thought he was somewhat shady of a character running for office. But guess what? It was not about Christie. It was about Corzine. New Jersey has lost tons of jobs. The economy is in shambles. There's a lot of corruption going on, and it's synonymous with Corzine. The voters ousted Corzine from office. Not that it was a favorable vote for Christie, but it sent a message. And then in Virginia, yes, in Virginia, right next door to Washington, D.C., McDonald beat Craig Dees by almost 20 percentage points. Unheard of. They won every election in Virginia. Governor, lieutenant governor, and attorney general. Is this a message for President Barack Obama? Well, let me put it like this. The number one issue on the minds of people are jobs and health care. Who was it that told us last week that 635,000 jobs were created? Who's trying to push health care against the will of the American people? Mr. President, I say to you, this may have been more about a test of whether Republicans could lead or not, and more about the fact that you have lost the independent votes. In each state, Virginia and New Jersey, the independents went overwhelmingly for the Republican candidate. Mr. President, that's how you want it. I suggest you change courses. I suggest you do it fast. Because if you don't, Mr. President, a year from now, on this day, you will be sitting in the White House in some dark place, sort of reminiscing about how you were just devastated, annihilated in the midterm election. Because, Mr. President, I assure you, if you don't change your course of action, you are next in line for dismantling. I'm Armstrong Williams. Have a nice day.